The station of the stars, RTI.
This is Postcard from Poprad. I'm Eric Wiltshire at the base of the glorious Tatry Mountains. Hello to Lee Banks.
Afternoon, how are you?
How's Rach?
I'm in my jammies on my couch.
Come and join the conversation with Rachel, Lee and Eric on Postcard from Poprad, live every Friday from 1pm Central European Time, midday UK, right here on Radio Tatras International.
It's just a twisted way to spend your time.
Are you in the tin shed drinking warm beer?
I'm so glad you are.
It wasn't in Scanties, you numpty.
Although, it is Pants Off Friday.
Just cut that remark out and promote that.
He's all covered in flies.
I like it, but I don't send him pictures of me in the scanties.
Nothing more to be said on that one then.
Oh, my best friend.
And welcome to Postcard from Poprad. And in advance, I do apologise because I'm not 100% today, but there's a good reason for that. Before we get onto the programme proper, I want to say hello to some people who've joined us already, which is wonderful. Amy is from Tokyo. Hello, Tokyo. I wish I could do that in Japanese, but I can't. Hello to Ty. Ty is in Brazil. Hello, Ty. How you doing, man? We've got Drew here as well. We've also got Luke and Angela and Poppy and how do you say it? Oh, it's Kitka. Hello, Kitka. Kitka. Probably Slovak, actually. We've got Jeremiah, we've got Alicia, and so many others already joining us. Thank you very much indeed. Love to have your company with us. And as I say, I'll explain more in a minute as to why I'm a bit dour today. That's the word I'm looking for, dour. And I have been since yesterday, but that's another story. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Are you going to talk into the microphone today and be...
He's in big... Look where he is. He's in big gob.
Really?
Is that Alicia from Spain?
It could be. Is a surname with a K?
I don't know. I don't know by a first name.
Oh. Well, no comment there then. But anyway, hi to you and to Rocky as well. Yeah,
Rocky?
Sorry, Rocky, I haven't said hello to you. And I don't think I said hello to Jordan, who says, hey.
Does Rocky first name begin with an M?
You're going to do a pun now, aren't you?
No, I'm not. It's a
You are.
serious
You're going to
question.
do a pun. You're going to do a pun. I think I'm going to wreck the order of everything before we get on, because it's an important day tomorrow here in Slovakia. And whilst I will not come in front of a microphone and tell anybody how to vote, because that would be, well, just wrong, because I don't do that on the radio. I don't think any radio presenter should. But it is the Slovak presidential election tomorrow. There are two candidates in there. And I want you to vote. I'm not saying which way you should vote, but you should vote. Because if you don't vote, you can't moan.
Exactly.
And I don't get this with people. They moan and groan about the result of any form of election. You go, did you vote then? No, I don't vote.
You don't vote. You don't. No.
I do.
Sorry. No, it was what I was going to say. I was ashamed of myself before I said it. So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, that's
I was
fair
going to
enough.
say, do you want me to say it?
If you like.
I was going to say you don't. I can't remember it now. I can't say it. Anyway, no. Can I just put a message out? A message?
Yes.
Yeah. This is to the glorious Andrea. Can you please pick up your phone and have a look
And answer and listen to your voicemail.
and listen to your voicemail and your other thing, because what he's just said, I've just sent you a message about.
Right. That makes no sense to anybody
Well,
listening.
go to theconsumerwatchfoundation.com and you'll realise what I'm talking about.
That was quick. 3 minutes.
I know, consumerwatchfoundation.com. It's worth a look.
That was better than last week where you
I
actually...
completely forgot.
30 minutes.
30 minutes I forgot for. I know.
You did indeed. Do you know, I'm avoiding a subject and I'm going to have to do it.
Ooh.
But I'm not going to enjoy it.
No.
And I will tell you more about this gentleman after we've heard him, because we are sending so much love from RTI to the late, great Bob Stewart and his wonderful wife, Cynthia. It is with deep regret we have to announce the death of our colleague and friend, Bob Stewart, who died in care in Texas today. Sympathies go to Cynthia, his beloved wife, and the family. And Bob, I know you won't, but we're asking you to rest in peace. For those that don't know, Bob started life on Radio Caroline North. He then went to the legendary Radio Luxembourg, and he worked for Capital and other people, including Jazz FM. And all those three have connections with me, which I'll share with Lee and you a little bit later on. But first, let's hear the legend that is Bob Stewart.
Well, dear listener, there you are, all snug and happy in your own home. You're one person with one vote, and you may not realize it, but you've got a fight on your hands. There's an all-powerful government in London, and it's up to you whether you win or you lose. Do you want free radio, or do you want a BBC monopoly? But now is the time for you, the free radio listener, to make your presence felt. We urge you, before it's too late, to write to the House of Lords, to your local newspaper, to your national newspaper, to your regional independent television station, stating your wishes regarding the future of free radio. Remember, they're your wishes which are at stake, and which so far have been ignored. The Marine Offences Bill will receive its third reading in the House of Lords on Monday. Now is the time for you to make your presence felt. You can write or telephone. The address to which you write is the House of Lords, London, SW1.
And good evening, Europe. This is the English service of Radio Luxembourg, broadcasting on 208 meters in the medium wave band from now until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's Sunday, the 18th of October, the time 1 minute after 7 o'clock, and we're broadcasting from now until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning from our studios in the city of Luxembourg via our transmitters at Monarch in the north of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. We hope you're going to stay with us. My name is Bob Stewart. I'm with you from now until 10 o'clock tonight.
Hi, Dennis.
Yes?
That's Bob in Radio Luxembourg.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I on the radio?
You're on the radio right about now?
And now, Bob Stewart.
Yes, it is. Your Bobby Baby that loves you so crazy. Over the course of the next 60 minutes, we have got all kinds of good things coming your way. Courtesy of Denim. Denim? Well, the man in your life would appreciate it. And girls, you know you can never be too prepared. On the Denim Show, we're getting ready to play the Denim Blue and Gold combination game. Let me tell you, that's one of our power plays this week. Belinda Carlisle with Summer Rain. Before that, we had Was Not Was, Walk the Dinosaur. And around about now, EMF on the Denim Show. Radio Luxembourg, another edition of the Denim Show next Monday night at 10 o'clock. Good evening. It's near 11 o'clock. Time for a look at the latest news headlines.
This is Radio Luxembourg, the world's biggest independent commercial radio station. Broadcasting on 208 meters, 1439 kilohertz, medium wave with an omnidirectional power of 1,200,000 watts. Radio Luxembourg also broadcasts on the FM frequencies 92.5, 97, and 88.9 throughout Central Europe. And worldwide, 49.26 meters shortwave. Our main studios are located in Luxembourg City, with other studios in London, Brussels, Paris, and Frankfurt. And so we come to the end of our programs for this morning. We sincerely hope that you'll rejoin us for more music this coming evening. On behalf of the staff and disc jockeys of Radio Luxembourg, this is Bob Stewart wishing you God's blessing and peace. And a good night and good morning.
Good morning, London. It's 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. A road watch and a traffic update on Jazz FM that lets us know this morning that 16 minutes to 10 o'clock right now. Talking of beautiful things, there's Peter Young up and coming for you right after the news at 10. And also, don't forget about Helen Mayhew. She'll be along at 6 o'clock tonight. You can enjoy an evening of relaxing dinner jazz from 7. The best music, 24 hours a day. So I'll love you and leave you. Stick in the mail. Regards to everybody. Best of luck with everything. And God bless. See you, folks. Bye.
Bye, Bob. Somewhat difficult. Thank you to those that are sending a little bit of love to Bob on Facebook at the moment as well. You're very sweet. Thank you very much indeed. The late, great Bob Stewart, who, in a kind of wacky way, it's his fault I do wacky news.
Mm.
Yeah. It was his fault.
Naughty Bob.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know him, but I know what he meant to you. I know the reason behind it. And but I think he gave a lot of happiness to the world and brought a lot of joy. And he got a beautiful voice.
Oh, he had. He He was so funny, and how it all started on Radio Luxembourg is he, a bit like you actually. He got me to read out the teletext pages that I edited.
Oh right, yeah.
And then came up with this notion that it'd be more fun if we did wacky news. Now, if you think back to 1990, there was no email, no interweb, nothing. It was all rip and read. News. And this stuff used to pour out of my fax machine in the office. I'd then highlight the bits I was going to do with Bob. I'd then refax it back to him, and he never read it. He never read a word of it. So one day we were sitting there, and he's gone on, and he used to have the program was the program that was called Let's Abuse Eric, where he would always attack me just out of fun. And so the first story I had, bearing in mind this is like 1991 or something like that. The first story was they're legalising cannabis joints in California for medical treatment, at which point I could genuinely hear Bob's voice go, where's this one going? I'm going to get fired. Because it wasn't allowed then.
Yeah.
If you think about it. Back that point, nobody would. You didn't talk on the radio about cannabis.
Oh right, I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know, but it carried on, and then when eventually Bob went over to Jazz FM, we carried on doing our wacky breakfast there, which was not quite so much fun because I'm a bit of a night person. Then I think the last time I saw him was actually at an exhibition in London. We stayed in touch right the way through till the sort of back end of last year. I was looking up on Facebook this morning where he was saying, don't worry lads, it's just a bit hot here, 107, because it's really hot out here. And that was the last time I ever communicated with the old boy, but he was sweet. And I don't even know if I've got it on this machine. But I'll probably play it again for you later. He's the guy that does our little jinglette, the best music 24 hours a day. Nowhere near as good as Bob. And I love it, and it'll carry on. And Bob's voice will remain on the radio for as long as humanly possible, or while I still got a microphone in front of me.
Can I just say something? Because it's an interesting point, what you're saying, and it's one of the joys of radio, and it's something I didn't discover until last year when a friend of mine died, and he contributed to one of the shows I do, the dinner party. He contributed his music, and his music, really good music, really interesting, really a bit avant-garde, a bit experimental, just really good music. And after 3 months of doing the show, he died. He died.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember you actually. Yeah.
But what he'd done, he'd sent me, because he knew he was dying, he sent me his legacy of music. And still today, we are playing Leo Ulrich's music on the dinner party. Yeah. And that's something that you can do for Bob, like I'm doing for Leo, just keeping their memory alive. And radio can do that. TV can't.
No, it can't, actually. Yeah. I mean, it's the one beautiful thing about radio is that you can paint pictures that television and newspapers can only dream of, because they are what they are, and they are kind of static in a sort of reverse way. But with radio, it's all now.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is now. Anyway, I know Bob would be chastising me at the moment because he would shout at me as much as anything else. So I'm going to get on. But we are dedicating the entire show today to Bob. And we may well finish with that little clip again, just for fun. Scott Walker, the singer and songwriter who was famed for the Walker Brothers, he's died as well. And it was really weird because both Lee and I like him, but for totally different reasons.
Well, he's not for totally different reasons. I think he's for totally different eras of music. And Scott Walker, there's nothing to compare where you know Bob's died and it hurt you, it upset you. Scott Walker, in his own way, I have actually met him, but in his own way, it brought my mortality to the fore because of the eras that I'd lived through with him. But he was a grand pop schmaltz artist. He created good pop music, good rock music, but he also went on to create some of the darkest, most experimental music that actually has ever been put down on vinyl and whatever else you put music on today, you know. And he just was one of the most creative artists of the last century.
He was, the homage to him in terms of indie pop was phenomenal.
Well, he just fit. What he became was a legend. People know his name today, like people know. There aren't many artists who've survived 60 years and still the name is at the top. And
Right.
I think the last performance he gave was back in the 80s, public performance anyway. But he went on to be a record producer because that's how he felt he could express his art. And till the end, the last record I heard was a couple of years ago, and he's still got this beautifully sonorous timbre, this voice that could destroy you. Just like your favourite is, for obvious reasons, My Ship Is Coming In. And that voice that he got, I don't think he had the range of Elvis, he didn't have the range of Frank Sinatra or his Royal Bobness, but he had one of the most devastatingly beautiful voices in music. Like I say, this is the last century.
I just wish Dob Billen lives to about 120.
I do.
Because then I won't have to say goodbye to him because I'll be gone by then. If you're going to be hopeless, it's true. The singer Roger Charlery, known as Ranking Roger.
I'm glad you said that.
I had to be careful. Has died at the age of 56.
That's a tragedy, isn't it?
Yeah, he was one from the beat at the two-tone scene.
Yeah, the two-tone scene. What a fabulous form of music that was. It still goes, but it was quite impressive at the time, and he's gone.
Well, it was like ska, reggae, something.
Yeah, it was a mix, wasn't it? It was
hybrid.
Hybrid of them all. Yeah,
hybrid of them all, and it was great fun. There was a lot of groups around at that time which were close. The Specials is another one that springs to mind. Yeah. And they had this amazing music, guys and girls. Oh, got to say hello to Gary Miller as well.
Hello, Gary Miller.
Hello, Gary. And they were just amazing people. Baroness Warnock, the philosopher. This is going to leave me cold, boys and girls. I will go to my erstwhile colleague for his cultural comments, because otherwise I'm going to get annoyed.
Well, you see, she wrote the book, which everybody should read, and it's a very impressive thing, and its title is probably one of the most emotive titles in the world today. She was the author of the 1984 report, which became published as a book, of human fertilization and embryology.
Blimey.
She was a philosopher. We philosophize about the world. This is what you forget. You forget that you are a pundit. You don't like pundits. You don't like people who comment on things, and yet that's exactly what you do.
No.
And you don't like philosophers. She was a philosopher. She was a grand philosopher.
I don't have a problem with critics. I have a problem with a lot of them because they talk dribble.
Well, they do, because they wax lyrical. They are on the literary side of journalism, and that you see that as drivel. A lot of some of them do. I agree. Some of them talk absolutely.
It's really funny if you watch any trails for TV programmes. The first thing they put up is, "Oh, don't you know? The man from The Guardian said this is wonderful, got an emotive front end, blah blah." And I'm going, but they're not talking about the programme.
They are. They say it's got an emotive front end and a dramatic middle.
I want to know if it's comedy, if it's drama, if it's alternative comedy, if it's factual. I don't care about the front end song on it.
Well, what you'll find is actually, as a form of critique, that actually, no, I'm a critic. No, a critique is what I did.
Yes, right.
Yeah, you would find that in the headline it would say the latest comedy by the BBC, and then it would have the emotive front end of this had me rolling in the aisles. girls.
Yeah, but they don't write like that anymore. It's all
Of course they do.
Fluffy.
Of course it. No, it isn't.
And I swear to God, I reckon half the producers make programmes to suit the critics.
No, what a load of rubbish. Because you don't watch telly, you only watch that CIS rubbish.
No, I don't. I do watch
Yes,
other
you
things.
do. Yes, you do. What about watch problem? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, tune in to one of the best series. We are watching it every night. We're watching 3 or 4 every night because there's nothing else to watch.
Yeah.
Called Locked In. It's a Spanish drama. Locked In. It is one of the most fabulous things ever. There's another one called Trapped, a Swedish film. There are so many brilliant things coming out of Europe at this moment that this Philistine thinks only belongs with CIS.
No.
Yes.
Comedies are good.
Go on then. What?
Any comedy. If it's comedy...
Give me a modern comedy. Go on. You can't see. You think Fawlty Towers is the latest in comedy.
No, do you know, I never really got into that.
That's because you're a Philistine.
It was kind of okay.
It wasn't okay. It was funny.
It was kind of okay, but it didn't really go anywhere.
Well, it wasn't meant to. It was just funny. It didn't have to go anywhere. It was a comedy.
Yeah,
comedy is a joke. A joke doesn't have to go anywhere. It just has to be funny.
Yes.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
And I mean, I had noticed, because I get the press release from the BBC,
Yes.
that all of a sudden, and I nearly fell over when I saw it, new comedy series coming out.
Who is it? What's in it?
I can't remember right now.
See, Philistine.
No, I can't remember right now because I can't watch it, so it's not relevant.
Oh, I see. Yes,
but
of course.
what was interesting is this was all about comedy, not drama, and it looks like they're actually taking my advice.
Well, the BBC are not very good at comedy. The BBC...
They used to be.
Well, they did, yeah, but they're not now. Comedy on the BBC... What the BBC are good at is rip-roaring yarns of drama and thrillers.
But there was never stuff like that before.
No, that's right, because they're doing that instead of comedy, because they're crap at comedy.
Well, yeah, but the comedy was good before.
Yeah.
And then they lost all the people, or they died, who did the comedy.
Yeah, Galton and Simpson and people like that.
They lost everybody else to the commercial boys, and they were left with nothing.
Well, yeah, but they're doing it. You see, also, remember the political stance of the world at the moment, what's happening in the world. And the one thing that the BBC do really well is represent what is going on in the world. Most of the stuff they're putting out at the moment is about war and the war on terror. And they're doing it incredibly well in a thoughtful way from both sides of the argument and everything. I really admire the BBC drama.
Okay. But I think
I was being a bit of a critic.
You were there. I think if I had a choice between watching BBC drama and nothing, I'd watch nothing.
Yeah, but that's like if you had a choice between Sibelius and
the
Chirpy Chirpy
truth-
Cheep Cheep,
the
you'd
truth
listen
is-
to Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep.
No, I wouldn't. Oh. No, do you know the other one that my first wife said to me? She joked in a nightclub. And I was never going to play this in a nightclub, nor was I ever going to mention it. I'm mentioning it now, and I go because there was a tradition in this club that everybody loved. At the beginning, I'd do a quick chart countdown and then play the number one.
Yeah.
The number one song was "Pictures of Matchstick Men" by Brian and Michael.
Really?
Matchstick Men and Matchstalk Cats and Dogs.
That was terrible. That was the most
That's
ridiculous
got to be
song
the worst
ever.
song. I refused to play it.
Yeah.
And she was going to be going, you're going to have to play it, you have to play it, you have to play it. No, I'm the DJ, I'm not. So I played the number two
I know.
instead.
It was about L.S. Lowry, the artist.
Yeah, and
it was just rubbish.
Well, so is his paintings.
No, they're not.
They're
no,
awful.
they're not.
A 10-year-old can do stick
No, they
paints.
couldn't. No, they couldn't.
Goodness sake, boys and girls. Oh, it's terrible. Just tell him, Gary. We move on. Bit of important, some short news coming in now. Sydney Air Traffic Control Operations, they've resumed the normal service there. They had to evacuate one of the towers. So if you have people going across and they're a little bit late, they haven't phoned you yet, don't worry about it. It's no problem. It was that the tower was evacuated because there was some smoke. Everything was sorted out. And the bottom line is the flights are now back on. There will be some delays for the remainder of the day. And so if you have got people flying out to that part of the world and they haven't phoned you, don't worry. You don't have to jump up and down. Tony says, afternoon, all the best comedy on the BBC for me. Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't like the new stage play, though. I think it's rubbish.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Where did you see it?
It was on a subscription film channel thing.
You said it was a stage play.
Yeah, they filmed it. They did a whole thing with all the songs in it.
See, stage plays don't lend themselves to TV, though.
No, they don't lend themselves to anything. Also, something else I haven't seen in the news and probably should have done. Hijacked ship was seized by Malta Special Forces this week. The vessel was hijacked by some of the 120 migrants that were there.
They'd rescued them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the captain's now got control of the ship again, which is really good. We like that immensely. Apple has unveiled its new streaming service, which tends to suggest to me and many others that they're moving away from hardware and going into the what can I sell everybody mode. And not only that, the sheep will be going, I hate doing this.
Go on.
An Apple card.
An Apple card?
Yes, it's a credit card by Apple. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen, but they've done it. The streaming service Apple TV Plus, which they claim is going to rival Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. Well, that's a bit of a problem because I can't see the point in Netflix or Amazon Prime either. I think it's completely pointless, and I don't get it at all. But Mark,
Netflix is all right.
Yeah-ish. If it was about €5 a month, I'd use it.
Yeah.
I'd probably use it. Prince Charles and his wife Camilla have arrived in where? Cuba.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's a really big story because they're in what was a communist state, Cuba. It's a bit more relaxed now. It's still basically governed by almost a dictator, although he's got a parliament underneath him. But
isn't that a bit like Britain?
I wasn't going to go there. It's lucky Rachel's not here. Tony says, "What a joke, Apple." She'd be.
Yeah, no, she'd be really.
So she'd rant.
Yeah, she would.
She'd rant, Tony. Don't worry about
it. A real worm in her ear.
Anyway, Charles and Camilla are on a 12-day tour of the Caribbean.
They've been there before.
What, to Cuba?
Yeah.
I don't remember being in Cuba before.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they had.
Anyway, what's all the fuss about, boys and girls? A female astronaut that sent apparently a row over spacesuit sizes.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, she tweeted the decision to go on a spacewalk was hers. She decided she wasn't going to go. It was her recommendation. And yet people are all jumping up and down going, oh, that's terrible. That's really bad. They didn't let all the women go out for a spacewalk.
Yeah, but there's a reason behind it.
Yeah,
and
the suit wasn't right.
Exactly. They got the wrong size suits. They'd have all burst.
Well, exactly.
You got in space and you had all burst ladies all over the universe.
Well, yes. And for people to go, that's sexist not doing that.
It's sexist to send them up and let them burst.
Well, exactement.
Yeah.
Exactement. Stupid people.
Stupid people.
Very, 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 very stupid people. Actually, I'm sure that the people that were writing going it's sexist actually have no scientific knowledge whatsoever. And
who said it?
Some of your former colleagues.
No, they didn't. It
was in the newspapers.
It might have been in the newspapers, but somebody else would have said it, not the newspapers.
No, they were commenting.
Well, that's all right if they want to make a comment that's controversial, like we've just made a comment that's controversial. Like burst ladies floating around the universe. That's controversial.
But they would not say it if they had some form of knowledge about what would happen to the ladies. They wouldn't have said it's sexist not to let them go out, because if you'd have let them go out, they'd have died.
Yes, exactly. So what they were saying is get the girls the right suits.
Yeah, right. You're very good at stacking it up for your mates, aren't you?
No, really I just tell the truth.
Right, we move on, boys and girls. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Yes, I am. I'm going to take a quick ad break because we've got an extract from an exclusive on CWF, and it's not just sucking up to Lee either. It's a wonderful thing. I heard it yesterday. I'll play a little bit of it for you in a moment, but first...
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
This is an appeal that I simply wish I didn't have to make. In this day and age, how is it possible that 1,400 children will die today from dirty water? The children like Elodie have to drink dirty water from rivers and swamps, risking their lives. Right now, you can help save a child's life. Text the word water to 70080 to give WaterAid £3. WaterAid has the expertise to install pipes, pumps and taps that will bring clean water to children at risk. They just need your support. In the next minute, dirty water will kill another child like Elodie. So please, don't wait to save a child's life. Text WATER to 70080 now to give WaterAid £3. Thank you.
If your dream holiday is 2 hours from the UK, perfect for children and teenagers, young couples and the older visitor, ideal for the physically active and for those who just want to unwind, Aqua City is the destination for you. Described by the Travel Channel as the place that will soon be on everybody's lips, be ahead of the crowd and the envy of your friends, but still enjoy a home from home. Come to Aqua City Poprad, the world's leading green resort.
From the heart of Europe to the world, RTI.
That'll be us then, as we dedicate today's programme to the late, great Bob Stewart. Thank you, Bob, for all of your wonderful support and advice and kicking me in the head every now and again. Well, metaphorically. This was kind of prompted, I guess, because the UK newspaper, the Daily Mail, had this big expose on Lee's mate, PJ Proby.
It was every newspaper carried it, and there's one reason we had a bit of a conference about why people were doing this PJ Proby story. And the reason is basically because Scott Walker had died, so everybody from that era came forward because he's now died a death. And I think it's sad. I think it's really sad. Like Eric says, Jim Proby is a personal friend, or was a personal friend.
He still is. He's not dead yet.
Well, but what he's done is so idiotic.
Oh, yeah.
He's 80 years old, and to give a boost to his latest show, because he's still a brilliant performer, but to give a boost to his latest show, he's come out with this outrageously stupid statement saying that he likes girls of 12 to 14. He made it clear he's not a pervert. He wouldn't actually, in his own words, touch them. And so CWF, go to CWF, the Consumer Watch Foundation, have a look at the stories about him. It's very sad that a bloke who lost his career throughout his career has finally shot himself in the foot yet again at 80 years old, and I'm not very impressed, and I might not speak to him again.
Okay, this is an extract from Lee's interview, and you can hear the whole thing, all 30 minutes of it, on the Consumer Watch Foundation. It's really interesting.
Are you classing this as a comeback? I know you've not been away, I know you've been doing shows.
I've never made a comeback. I've never, just the audience went on vacation.
I understand.
I've always been here. They didn't allow me to work for 40 years.
Who's that? Who wouldn't allow you to work?
The system. I was banned for 40 years. They didn't allow me back on the popular stage until 2001.
Why was that?
Because of the pants-splitting thing.
Well, I know about that, because that happened in Luton, didn't it?
It happened a couple of places, There's no sense in going into that. That was Mary Whitehouse.
Mary Whitehouse, of course, yeah.
All that, the Morals Committee, which doesn't exist anymore, but that had me banned for 40 years. Joan Baez and they stayed in my house in Chelsea in 65.
Really, yeah.
And they were all just loaded to the gills on LSD and dope all the time, and I was just a drinker and everything.
Yeah.
And they thought I was something really weird, a drinker. And I woke up one day, and the house is really quiet, and I looked at the end of my foot of my bed, and here's this picture of this really freaky-looking guy with hair down to his ass, and and I took it, And I went downstairs with the picture, and there in lipstick on my mirror was, "If you love PJ, do something for him now. He hasn't got long."
Yeah. All right, well, listen, Jim, I'm going to shoot off now, but thanks for talking to me, and like I say, any problems...
Okay,
The Station of the Stars. RTI.
And if you want the full interview, you've got to go to the Consumer Watch Foundation with Lee at the helm doing the whole thing.
Well, exactly. And may I just pass the message on to Jim? I know he's got a lot of fans out there, particularly got a lot of fans in Europe. Let me just say, Jim, you're 80 years old, so it's a bit pointless saying grow up.
Yeah, it's rather, isn't it? Ian says, good afternoon, gents and ladies. I remember listening to Radio Luxembourg, great station, sadly lost these days. I'm not going to go there, Ian, because it shouldn't have been lost and it should have been there, and there's lots of other bits and bobs that I could share, but not today. Let's say hi to Hanka. Hi, Hanka.
Hi, Hanka.
Ako samaj. Dobry. A Bratislava?
Dobry den.
Na teplo Bratislava. Ano, okay, ďakujem. Mohammed is there, Brian is there, Steve Melrose is there as well.
Oh, nice.
They're all there. It's just Facebook is messing me about a bit today, boys and girls.
Facebook needs to grow up as well.
Yes. I think somebody's clicking and doing stuff. But honestly, we can't see all your comments. Keep trying. It's just one of those things. The Brexit process remains a bit of a mess. Actually, I don't think it is a mess. I think there's a totally different agenda in the whole thing. But the MPs are going to vote today on whether to approve part of Mrs May's deal. Mr Corbyn and the DUP have said they won't do that. They won't support it anyway. So just after we come off air, which is bad news for a news show, we'll find out what the vote is, I think. It's still a bit messy. So what I'm going to say to you, if you are an expat listening, please, 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 please find out where your local consulate is, find out what's going on, because there are too many people still doing the threat, the negative, the ridiculous stories about you getting thrown out of countries, the end of the world's coming, yada, yada, yada. If you go to your consulate, they will tell you the truth. I mean, I'm actually not in the office next Wednesday. I'm going over to the equivalent of like the Foreign Office place here, where the police are, and I will be a full-term resident of Slovakia then, with an EU thingy, the whole 9 yards. And, you know, other countries have done the same. Spain have done it. Greece has done it, etc., etc., etc. So go and talk to your consulate. There's many ways of solving the problems. And you don't have to listen to Project Fear saying, it's the end of the world.
No, you don't. And I'm sorry to bang on about it, but I'm going to say it again, go to the Consumer Watch Foundation, because there is a big piece about how Slovakia is reacting to
Brexit.
To Brexit. And, you know, I've had idiots on saying all sorts of ridiculous things about it. But it isn't. Look at what Spain's doing. Look at what other countries are doing. Yeah. And see how the groundswell is about. Nobody wants in Europe to destroy people. There's no point in it. That's not what it's about.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But can I also say something that is absolutely shameful in British politics, and also I've been taken to task on this, and I believe it, and I believe you believe it.
Oh, God.
That actually what's happening in the British Parliament now is sheer, straightforward, unadulterated blackmail for MPs to say, if you resign or give us a date when you're going to go, we'll vote for your policy. But if you don't offer to resign, we're not going to vote for it. That, no matter how you look at it, is undiluted blackmail.
No, you're quite right, because they're not looking at the issue.
Exactly.
They're looking at the next general election.
Exactly.
And Jeremy Corbyn's exactly the same. He thinks if Mrs May goes, he gets a general election. Jeremy, wake up, chap. Hold on.
Yeah, Wurzel.
Yeah. Steptoe. Wake up, man. It's not going to happen. The MPs who've got small vote gains are not going to have an election. They're going to keep their wages. Ah, okay. Hang on. How's he doing that?
How did he do that? That was
very
wasn't it? Very
yes.
interesting. I bet he's done it by accident.
No, he's writing about the topic that we're talking about.
Oh, he came up there.
Yeah, so
How interesting.
I know why. That was gosh, that was the Emperor Roscoe commenting on the
writing
programme.
to us. Well, good on you, Emp.
Yeah.
Can I just say another
I'm quite
thing?
humbled now. I am very humbled, actually.
But another thing about the politics is, right, I put a piece out this week just saying, really, forget about the political aspect of what she is doing. Is Theresa May a villain or a hero?
Hero.
I believe so too. It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about her politics.
No,
I'm
forget
talking
the
about
politics.
what she's done.
She was given a remit for Brexit.
Which she didn't necessarily agree with.
No, but she took the vote of the people at that time, which is what you do at every general election.
Yep.
You know, if your party loses, you lose. It's as simple as that. And she took the remit and ran with it.
Exactly.
Whether it's right or wrong, whether you love it or hate it, doesn't matter. She ran with the remit.
Exactly.
And you have to admire. It's like people used to sort of shout at me about Ken Livingstone. Not that I approve of his latter work, but you know, all the way through the 80s and 90s, Ken Livingstone had absolute convictions, and they
so
were.
he should.
But they were his convictions, and he stood by them. And even when he was the mayor of London, he took those credentials with him, and he stuck with them. And you have to admire somebody who does that. The reason I can't admire Jeremy Corbyn is 1 minute he's in one set of goalposts, the next minute he changes his mind. But what he does is he uses some core things and says, but we're going to keep all those. So the main people in his
party... But never really says what they are.
Well, he does. Actually, he does.
Not really. He has headlines. There's no depth.
No, you're quite right. There's no depth to him. But he keeps enough in to keep people happy. But then he moves himself around on everything else. I mean, you know, number one, should there be a second referendum in the UK? 1 minute it was yes, another minute it's no. So, you know, inside 2 years, the man's changed his mind. So,
why not actually have a full-blown public investigation into anti-Semitism within the party? How can how can somebody who has all these views actually really just sweep it under the carpet?
You know what the standing joke is about the Labour Party, don't you?
Go on.
Well, it's been in existence for over 90 years. It came in existence to get rid of the poor people, and there's more poor people now than there was then.
Probably,
So they ain't done much, have they?
Yeah. Last point on Theresa May, though, if I may, is you made the point, which is absolutely right. She took the vote of the people and ran with it. There are so many people, particularly on Brexit sites, who said, well, what she should have done is take the vote of the people and run with it. That's exactly what she did, knobs.
Absolutely. Rude words.
Knob's not a rude word. I've got one on me thing.
Yes, exactly. Facebook, YouTube are under threat of being sued by a French Muslim group because of showing and streaming the live footage from Christchurch. I don't agree with that being streamed at all in any way, shape or form. But I'm sorry, guys, you have an off switch. You have an off switch. And it's when people say, motor racing is really dangerous, it shouldn't be shown before 9 o'clock at night in case there's a crash. That's why people look at it.
Of course
it's only me that looks at motor racing for the racing. Other people look for the crashes. It's the way people are. But I'm sorry. If you see something bad on the interweb, the solution is report it and go somewhere else. Change. It's no different to watching a pathetic, dull drama on BBC One and switching over to. There are. And switching over to the comedy channel to get some light entertainment.
Which there are,
which is the right thing to do.
The right thing about this is that really They need taking to task over the fact that the film was streamed live for, I can't remember how long it was now, but it was a long time.
It was about 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah, and it remained available for longer than that. So the question has to be asked, why couldn't Facebook, when they can take a nipple down or they can take good causes down like they're taking us and Dads and John T down all the time, why couldn't they take this down?
I think, again, I'm not defending him, I think this is a technology issue.
Of course it's a technology issue, but they should put
they
technology in place.
They can't figure out what to do with it all yet. And YouTube's got the same problem, in so much that because of there's a new directive come out this week from the EU about copyright controls, and YouTube have come back and said, look, if it carries on like that, we just won't upload anything from Europe. They've told them to get stuffed. And to be quite honest, they're quite right. The copyright thing is an absolute nightmare. In radio, it's a complete and utter nightmare as to who owns the copyright to what, when, how, when, and why. And a lot of the content I have here is certainly not my copyright, but I do have rights to play it. I mean, if I could find it, I'd show you it. I once got a fax from the former what's he? General manager, I think? Yeah, general manager of Radio Luxembourg. Because the minute the station closed down, I said to John, I want to put a documentary together about the station. I said, but I can't do it because I haven't got copyright clearance. So he sent me a fax which says, but simplified down, for the rest of your life, you can play anything you want from Radio Luxembourg. And he was the boss at the time, so it counts.
Yeah, of course.
Simple
as
that.
Of course it does, yeah.
No problem. A fake homeless man who uses props to make himself look like a rough sleeper has been caught out. And I think that's wonderful.
I think it's wonderful. I think this man was a bit of a cheeky monkey.
No, he's more than a cheeky monkey, because he actually turns people off, the people that really need help.
But why should people have to beg on the streets? Why? What you're doing is actually validating begging on the streets. People shouldn't be forced to beg on the streets.
No, they shouldn't, Lee, I quite agree. But there are certain occasions where everything goes wrong. You can't legislate for it. There are issues where if there was an ex-serviceman on the street, something's gone wrong, and he needed some money, I'd give him it.
I
would do. But this bloke actually makes everybody who's in trouble look bad.
Do you know how much he was making a day?
It's ridiculous sums, I'm sure.
About 300 quid a day. What I'd like to happen, and I've actually asked him to do it, is Graham Ledger come forward. Graham runs a group that helps homeless people in Cheltenham. And I've asked Graham to come forward and talk about this because it's something he bangs on the internet all the time. It is a good thing. Is a good thing. Now Graham is a bus driver in Cheltenham, and he spends the rest of his time doing what he considers to be good work. Graham, come forward. Tell us if you know this man. Tell us how bad it is there. How many people are doing this? This is your public duty, Graham, to come and tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Young couples might be able to get a new house, but, boy, I wouldn't want. Well, I probably would do it because I'm like that. Apparently, there's a house to be snapped up in Birmingham for just £50,000. It's nothing.
You could snap Birmingham up for 50 grand.
Well, no, according to the valuers, if it was a fully sort of nice house, it would be worth about £110,000. Yeah. The house is currently boarded up. It's got wood over the windows. Photographers have been in there. And I think you need roughly 3 to 4 skips to throw the rubbish out that's inside the house.
Why are we publicising a derelict house in Birmingham?
Because I just think
happens everywhere all over the world.
No, this isn't a derelict house. This is a hoarder that lived there.
Yeah.
And when you buy the house,
you buy all his hoards.
You have to buy all the rubbish that goes with it.
I'll buy it.
Oh, God.
All right, then.
Oh, God. And it, like the front room, you can just about see the carpet for this mound of carrier bags, boxes, blah, 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 blah. And if you want to buy it for 50 grand and do it up, do you know what? I keep thinking to myself, I probably would if I was still in England, you know.
Well, he doesn't take much to clear a house.
No, he wouldn't. No, honestly, he wouldn't. But I would be looking, like you, I'd be looking in the bags as well.
Exactly.
See what I make a profit of.
We were talking to somebody, weren't we? No names, no pack drill, right? That's a very old-fashioned phrase. Where did that come from?
Out your mouth.
Great. So, anyway, we were talking to somebody who was actually wasn't left a house. But what they were left the contents of a house that had been lived in by a hoarder. It took them weeks to clear it. But really, if you go through a hoarder's stash, you can very often find, being a bit of a hoarder myself, you know, I've got some really special stuff hoarded.
Yeah, I know. I keep finding stuff as well. That's
me stash.
The Icelandic budget airline, it's gone broke. The good news on the aircraft scene is that Boeing have now got the fixes for the 737 MAX aircraft.
How would you trust them? They said, we've just done a quick fix. We've just debugged it.
Debugged it.
Yeah, debugged it and defragged it. All right now, lads.
Because of where they are, they would have to go through the Federal Aviation Authority.
Didn't they have to go through that before they crashed the planes?
They would have done, but he wouldn't have shown up.
So because they haven't crashed the planes?
No,
that's rubbish.
That is the problem. We can fly by wire everything. I love this story because it's the British quintessentially... it's just lovely. I can just imagine this guy, 74 years old, Keith Smith, who is a volunteer police officer, what they call a special constable. And at 74 years young, he's nabbed a bloke who was 29.
I know, he chased him.
Yeah.
What was up with the bloke at 29? Why couldn't he outrun a 74-year-old?
I have no idea.
Can you run at 74?
Well, I'm not 74.
Oh, you little liar.
I must admit, though, the joints do hurt now and again sometimes.
Now that's it. Yeah, you shouldn't be on joints at your age.
Well,
good on it.
If I'm not on joints, my knees and my bum would be the same height.
You'd be on the floor.
Yes. Anyway, the motorist sped off, and Special Constable Keith Smith gave chase in his brum brum, and he caught him.
I thought he did it on foot. I thought he chased him on foot. That's what I was going on about joints.
Motorist sped off is the clue.
I can't read from here.
Oh, that's true. A British man has been acquitted of raping a US woman in Australia after 21 months in prison after forensic tests found out that the DNA wasn't right.
Absolutely.
And I know people don't like this, and seriously, I don't like what Saudi Arabia does either. But you've got to think about this. In some countries, rape is still a crime that gets execution. Now, 21 months down the track, you can't bring the bloke back because you found new DNA.
Exactly. That's the whole argument against
that's it. Capital punishment should not be there. It's absolutely...
May I also add to this, because I can't remember the bloke's name, but do you remember the actor in Hollywood who was accused of getting two people to beat him, paid two people to beat him?
Oh, the black guy?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Oh.
Anyway.
Actor.
Yeah,
actor,
yeah, him.
Yeah.
Josie something.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I am now taking you to task for, Mr. Wiltshire, and Rachel, I was really going to take Rachel to task on this, because we had a bit of a tarry-diddle over the fact that I said you can't say that he's guilty. Nobody's proved that he's guilty.
But in the court, what they said was there's not enough evidence to carry on.
Therefore, he's not guilty.
They didn't say he wasn't guilty. They didn't say he was guilty.
He was cleared, exonerated. He had a little bit of a fine because of the way
the case was dismissed.
Yes, the case was dismissed. Therefore, there's nothing on his record. He was innocent. I was the only person who said don't say he's guilty, because he isn't. What had happened there was that the American police... The police in New York, or Hollywood, had actually used the press to try and convict the man. And that's another area, like you've just said, don't kill people because they might be proved innocent. Well, don't hang people before they've been to court because they might be proved innocent.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep my car forever now because the EU and the UK apparently are looking to put black boxes into cars to enable them to slow down because of the amount of accidents that are caused.
Well, if you slow down, you'd be stopped.
I can't say anything in reverse to that because I'm leading myself into trouble.
In fact, if you slow down anymore, you would be in reverse.
The spy in the car, as it's called, is a way of slowing the car down if you're speeding. It would work through a GPS type system. And you know, I get it because there are people that drive far too fast. They don't know how to drive fast. They have accidents, and it's a terrible thing. And the EU's right in that concept. Where they're wrong is where somebody, for example, you're genuinely overtaking a car, some idiot comes round the corner the other way, and you know they're on a solid white line, you're on a broken white line, you're following the rules properly, and they come steaming round the corner, God knows what else. You've got to have that acceleration, which may need breaking the speed limit to avoid an accident.
Absolutely.
And that's where the whole system gets a little bit flawed.
But
and you can't do it.
Isn't this what we've talked about, or I've talked about a lot, and you always deny? This is robots taking over our lives. It was predicted 100 years ago that this is what would happen, and that is a robot that's now taking over your ability to
safety, drive. I get it because I've seen I've seen far too many accidents at high speed. Especially me as well, because I rolled the car when I was a teenager because I wasn't driving properly.
That's going back to joints.
So I can't be exonerated from this lot because I did it. And the fact is, if that saves, I mean, there's something like 250,000 deaths every year in Europe.
Oh yeah.
Because of speed. Now, if you can cut that down, that's a wonderful thing. Where I think it might be a little bit more logical to start with and try it is to say, OK, 17 to 25, you're on a controlled car. Once you're a good boy and can prove that you're OK, you can just get on with it.
But the Road Hauliers Association came out and said that they've been forced to use these things in their wagons for however long.
Correct.
And actually, it creates more danger than allowing your driver to count because of complacency.
You've got to say goodbye, mate.
I'm going now. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. We are going to finish with Bob Stewart again with our tribute to him as we end the show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week till next week. Bye-bye.
Well, dear listener, there you are, all snug and happy in your own home. You're one person with one vote, and you may not realize it, but you've got a fight on your hands. There's an all-powerful government in London, and it's up to you whether you win or you lose. Do you want free radio, or do you want a BBC monopoly? But now is the time for you, the free radio listener, to make your presence felt. We urge you, before it's too late, to write to the House of Lords, to your local newspaper, to your national newspaper, to your regional independent television station, stating your wishes regarding the future of free radio. Remember, they're your wishes which are at stake, and which so far have been ignored. The Marine Offences Bill will receive its third reading in the House of Lords on Monday. Now is the time for you to make your presence felt. You can write or telephone. The address to which you write is the House of Lords, London, SW1.
And good evening, Europe. This is the English service of Radio Luxembourg, broadcasting on 208 meters in the medium wave band from now until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's Sunday, the 18th of October, the time 1 minute after 7 o'clock, and we're broadcasting from now until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning from our studios in the city of Luxembourg via our transmitters at Monarch in the north of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. We hope you're going to stay with us. My name is Bob Stewart. I'm with you from now until 10 o'clock tonight.
Bob Stewart.
Hi, Dennis.
Yes?
It's Bob in Radio Luxembourg.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I on the radio?
You're on the radio right about now.
And now, Bob Stewart.
Yes, it is. Your Bobby Baby that loves you so crazy. Over the course of the next 60 minutes, we have got all kinds of good things coming your way. Courtesy of Denim. Denim? Well, the man in your life would appreciate it. And girls, you know you can never be too prepared. On the Denim Show, we're getting ready to play the Denim Blue and Gold combination game. Let me tell you, that's one of our power plays this week. Belinda Carlisle with Summer Rain. Before that, we had Was Not Was, Walk the Dinosaur. And around about now, EMF on the Denim Show. Radio Luxembourg, another edition of the Denim Show next Monday night at 10 o'clock. Good evening. It's near 11 o'clock. Time for a look at the latest news headlines.
This is Radio Luxembourg, the world's biggest independent commercial radio station. Broadcasting on 208 meters, 1439 kilohertz, medium wave with an omnidirectional power of 1,200,000 watts. Radio Luxembourg also broadcasts on the FM frequencies 92.5, 97, and 88.9 throughout Central Europe. And worldwide, 49.26 meters shortwave. Our main studios are located in Luxembourg City, with other studios in London, Brussels, Paris, and Frankfurt. And so we come to the end of our programs for this morning. We sincerely hope that you'll rejoin us for more music this coming evening. On behalf of the staff and disc jockeys of Radio Luxembourg, this is Bob Stewart wishing you God's blessing and peace. And a good night and good morning.
Good morning, London. It's 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. A road watch and a traffic update on Jazz FM that lets us know this morning that 16 minutes to 10 o'clock right now, talking of beautiful things. There's Peter Young up and coming for you right after the news at 10. And also, don't forget about Helen Mayhew. She'll be along at 6 o'clock tonight. You can enjoy an evening of relaxing dinner jazz from 7.
The best music, 24 hours a day.
So I'll love you and leave you. Stick in the mail. Regards to everybody. Best of luck with everything. And God bless. See you, folks. Bye.